Do you have questions about what to be eating before, during, and yes, even after a race? Then stay tuned and we'll talk about it in the next few minutes. Hey guys, this is Andrew. Welcome to this episode of Wings, Wheels, and Feet. And I need to do something that I've been meaning to do, which is to talk about race nutrition. And it seems kind of fitting here the day after Thanksgiving, when all of us have run races yesterday, or many of us did, and congrats on whatever race you ran. And I did a half marathon, which is kind of relevant to part of what I'm going to talk about. And I am going to start at the end instead of the beginning with post-race nutrition. I had this bite me in the backside a couple of years ago with not eating after a race. And I started doing some research and reading what others had to say. And it turns out you really need to eat within about 30 minutes of finishing a half or a full marathon. 5K and 10K, not so much, but definitely for the longer races. And if you don't, if you're like me, you sit there on the bus, you've got their box of snacks, maybe you've eaten the banana, maybe you've nibbled on the chips and plastic cheese, and you get back to the room and you shower and you want to lay down, and then finally you get some dinner later, and it's just misery if you don't feel like eating, but you really need to eat. And there have been times when I finish a race and I'm ravenously hungry, and other times not so much, just because all your internals have shut down a lot. Make yourself eat some food, and you need a combination of protein and carbohydrates. So what has worked for me are these protein shakes. This is 140 calories and a bunch of protein, and then Uncrustables. And these two in combination just about nail it in terms of a mix of protein and carbs, and definitely close enough your body's not going to mind. And your Uncrustables run around 210 calories, 28 grams of carbs, and they come in yummy flavors. This is some strawberry I got so that the kids won't eat it. My other go-to is peanut butter and honey, which won't stain clothes if I drip it on me. And the nice thing about these is they are frozen before a race and they sit in the car, like on a training run, or in a gear bag, they're fine afterwards. I know runners who simply take them and slip them into a side pocket because they're flat and compact. And both of these can sit in a gear bag at the race corral and be just fine afterwards. I will have them in the refrigerator overnight and throw them in the gear bag, and they may not quite still be chilled at the end of a long race, but they're still quite good. And they both seem to go down rather well for me in terms of being able to eat them without upsetting my stomach. I've tried this on training runs. I did this just yesterday with these two items, and they work out. So you may have a different carb, you may have a different protein, but this is what works for me, and it has worked well consistently. So whatever you choose, make sure you do post-race nutrition. It is more important than one would think. And do it within that 30-minute window. So back to the pre-race, I am one of these people that will have my coffee in the morning. It may only be a single cup, but I'll have that and some water. These Nature's Bakery fig bars I have come to like. They're 200 calories. They've got a nice mix of carbs and sugar in them. They taste good. I'll have these or a Cliff Bar. Again, at marathon weekend, while sitting on the bus, I'm sipping my coffee, I'm having this. And then, right before the race, a Honey Stinger waffle. Love these. They're flat, they're compact, they'll fit in a pocket, and can sit there and eat this in the corral, 20 minutes or so before race start, wash it down with some water. Well, then the race gets going. Then what do you do? And for most people, it's every 3 to 4 miles, every 40, 45 minutes. I have typically done every 4 miles. A coworker said, nah, he does it every 3 miles, which for him is, easily shorter than every 30 minutes, but he's younger and faster and is presumably burning more calories. But I think he's onto something. And so I will figure half marathon, do one at 3 miles, one at 6 miles, one at 9. Well, then do you do one at 12 when you've only got a mile or so to go? Maybe, maybe not. So maybe you do just 3 and intersperse them a little differently. While I'm running, I like things like sport beans, but recently at a trade show, one of the vendors had their bowl of candy out, and they had the caramel Werthers, the kinds like grandma keeps in her purse. And I'd forgotten how yummy they are. So I've recently bought a bag of those, and for my afternoon training run, one Werther will last almost 3 miles. So put a couple of those in my pocket. And besides keeping some moisture in my mouth, they've got a little bit of sugar, same as the sport beans, and they work. Just don't swallow it whole. So during the race, I like a mix of items. I like the goo. Some people say it upsets their stomach and they don't care for it. I tried one yesterday. It turns out that apparently the Best Buy 2024 may have been valid, because I tried a vanilla one yesterday and it just didn't taste all that great. So I tossed the rest of it aside. But for me, these work. I don't get upset stomach from them, at least that I know of. And I bought this lovely variety pack and just haven't used them enough and need to get more. And I guess I need to be using this more in my longer training runs instead of letting them go bad on the shelf. And an item that has worked well for me over the years is glucose. And these taste like fruit punch. And it's just like tear the top off, easy to drink. I don't have to keep squeezing it up like I do with a gel. And it's just slurp it down and go. It's only 70 calories, but I really like the flavor. And they also have chewable tablets, which are just sugar tablets, and they advertise no upset stomach. I haven't used these as much. I wish I had thought about taking one yesterday, but these are good. Now, the thing about all of these, I have come to find out, is your body needs water to digest them. Where is it going to get that water? It's going to pull it out of your muscles unless you're drinking some down. Now, one thing to do is consume one of these as you're approaching a water stop, and then you've got the water to replenish your body's water supply. That's one way that works. The other way is you consume a gel that does not need external water. And that's where these Martens come in. And they're a little on the pricey side, but the genius of them is they don't need extra water. They have their water in them. And I can tell you, this gel, it's flavorless, it's clear, it's like a bunch of nothing. And you may have a texture issue, but slurp it down and it's good for you. It's right at 100 calories, doesn't need extra water. It's a high-tech substance, and people I know that are doing some serious running use this, apparently to good effect. I don't carry water with me because they're helpful people about every mile and a half handing water out. But if you do carry a water bottle or have a water vest, a lot of people like the Tailwind. And I put it in a water bottle and I'll sip it in the corral before the race. So if I don't have water to wash this down with, then I'll have this solution. And it's good, and it's just sugar, and you're dissolving it in water. The Stinger waffles come in flavors, so you can mix and match. You get the original. This is vanilla. They have salted caramel. Gotta love all the yumminess there. And then this is something I have recently discovered, Untapped. It is Vermont maple syrup. And in the case of this box, it is coffee flavored. And I was doing the Marine Corps Marathon 2 years ago, and somewhere around mile 20 or 21, they were handing these out, and I slurped it down, and it was so good I actually circled back for another one, and then had to go find out what it was I had consumed, because race brain afterward, I didn't even remember. This stuff is yummy, and I have been using this. I need to consume it more. Used some yesterday. I've used it on training runs, and they have different flavors, but it's a wonderful product. I really enjoy it. And again, it's hopefully this one doesn't go bad. I need to be using this stuff more. So that's what I do pre-race, during race, and post-race. And I am going to again emphasize post-race, because after a couple of really miserable experiences with not having food or enough food afterward, I have come to appreciate within 30 minutes of finishing, get some protein and carbs in you, and you will thank yourself later. So this is Andrew. Happy running. I hope you had a great race yesterday, and I look forward to seeing y'all at Marathon Weekend in January. Have a good weekend.